Everyone, it's Nathan, one of your ministers. This Wednesday update is extra specific. So, before we get into that, I wanted to talk to you about this upcoming Sunday. Reverend Chris is preaching on healing, and after the 11:30 service, there's a group of church members and friends who are going to go to Mid-City Gras. And specifically, they are going to be kind of close to the end. They're going to have 3 tables set up with some chairs and some snacks. So this is, if you wanted to go to the parade but wanted to do it with Unitarians, you're welcome to. So the way to do it is go to the end of the parade route, which is at BRCC in North Boulevard, and walk up a few blocks, and they should be on the right somewhere. So I want to talk to you about the freeze that's going to happen tonight and how that relates to our current administration. I don't want to cover my plants. I've done it twice. It's not worth it. They've made it through the first 2. Why am I bothering this time? On top of that, I declared last week, because of climate change especially, that spring is here, and I planted my tomatoes. And, for those who aren't into the planting stuff as much, tomatoes are the plant that really, really, really don't like the cold. So some of the other plants that I'm a little more nervous about, they'll be fine in the cold. But tomatoes, no such luck. But if my goal, which is long term, to have a really fulfilling, fun garden, and especially for my satsuma trees that I pruned and are already blooming because they apparently, I waited until I saw trees bloom to say it's spring and they were blooming. But if I want to have satsumas in October, I got to do, it's 2 or 3 hours of work, but I got to do the 2 or 3 hours of work today and then the 2 or 3 hours of work on Friday to save them. Which leads to the other part of this conversation, which is this is not a partisan church. It has never been a partisan church. The church must always hold elected officials and the world to a higher account. Period. I have never seen so many people so directly affected by a president so quickly. Starting this week, every meeting that we had, we started with asking people to just lay down, not the abstract stresses, but what are the actual stresses that you are experiencing because of our current climate. And there is a lot. A lot. So I just want to kind of name that. And it's helped me, someone said last night at the board meeting, I feel like we have to get extra clear on what the Serenity Prayer is, which is, for those who don't know, God grant me the serenity to, I can't do it off script, but basically it's, the courage to accept the things I cannot change, to know which things I can change, which I can't, and to have the wisdom to know the difference, right? To accept what I can't change, the strength to change what I can, and to know the difference. I really think by design, because our president is not going through Congress to get a lot of these laws changed, which he could. He's got a majority in all of the areas, but he's going directly through executive orders under the thought that this is going to get overturned by this. Anyway, so the goal is to throw chaos at you. If you are distracted with all of the things that are being thrown right now and been thrown for the last 3 weeks, then you may not have the stamina or the wherewithal to discern out the difference between all the noise they're throwing out and the signals of things to come. So it's going to be important for us as a congregation to really do work to discern, is it worth worrying about whether or not they've changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? Will that, is that a freedom fry situation, or is that something that's going to change? And a lot of you are afraid of losing your jobs right now, and that's real, right? So which things are permanent, which are transient? And it brings into crystal clear synthesis what the role of this church is. I know Unitarian Universalists. We want to fix it all. We want to change all of the things. We want to make it all better. And if we don't, somehow we haven't protested hard enough or written, contacted our legislators hard enough or whatever. I think right now the most important thing that we can do is to create a safe place where people are allowed to be themselves. Period. That is the most important thing that we can do. So bringing it back to the gardening, I don't want to do all of this again. I dealt with the chaos. I dealt with the chaos before COVID, and then the mismanaged handling of COVID that resulted in people panicked and feeling like they were going to die. And a lot of people did die, a lot because of our decisions. And I don't want to go through all of that again. I don't want to go through the headache of going and pulling out all of the tarps and taping them back around my trees and covering up the stuff and then waiting for 2 days and then pulling it all off again. I don't want to do that. And if I want fruit in the future, I got to do it. What we need to do as a church is really discern what are the things we can control and what can't we control. And then how do we create an environment for not just our church members, but anyone who needs this church to come and know that they are safe. It's especially true for anyone that feels pushed to the margins right now. We have church members who are working with people who have been detained by ICE. We have church members who are supporting trans families. We have trans church members. We have people who are living financially on the edge who do not know what this is going to hold. And I love being in a church this good that we seem to only lose people. We'll have some people who are upset with the church and leave from time to time. But for the most part, we lose people because they move away because they can't deal with the adversity of... Because there's so much adversity here, they just need to go somewhere else. And I wouldn't be surprised if we lose some people because of the adversity of the state government, the local government, and the federal government. So I'm prepping for that. And it's a good church. And what we have to do as a religious people is to build it as joyfully and fun and welcoming and happy as we can. And because it's Mardi Gras season, there is a fight for your attention. I just spent 7 minutes, 8 minutes of this video giving attention. Attention in some ways is our currency. And right now, the world is asking us to give our attention to joy and fun. Keep each other safe, but no one has the right to take away your joy. No one has the right to take away your fun. Come Lent, we'll talk about some of the heavier stuff, but it's okay for you to take a break right now. The world needs you rested and comfortable and well-fed and ready to go. It really does. You can reach out to me or Reverend Chris, any of the staff really, but reach out to us if you need to talk to your ministers. Cover your plants if you need to, because it's going to be cold, both literally and metaphorically. That's it. We'll see you on Sunday.